走进纽交所，直击华尔街。截至7月7日当周，市场关注的焦点集中在密集发布的经济数据上。有着小非农之称的 ADP 就业报告显示，在6月份，美国私营部门的就业人数经过季节性调整之后，增加了49.7万人。这个数值远超市场预期，显示出美国劳动力市场的韧性。但仅仅在一天之后，非农数据意外爆冷。在6月份新增的非农就业人口仅仅为20.9万，受到疲软的非农数据影响，美元应声下跌。近期公布的这些数据提升了投资者对于美联储7月份将重启加息的预期，同时也导致本周美股市场备受压力。目前华尔街对于下半年市场的走势存在着较大的分歧。摩根士丹利的首席投资官麦克威尔逊认为，近期的上涨只是暂时的，如果美联储进一步加息的话，那么美股将很有可能会进入熊市。但另一方面，市场上也有一些乐观的声音，认为今年上半年的涨势将会延续到今年的年底。从整体来看，本周美股3大主要股指悉数收跌，其中道琼斯工业平均指数一周累计的下跌达到672.72点，最终收于33,734.88点，跌幅为2%。纳斯达克综合指数下跌了127.21点，收于13,660.72点，跌幅达到了0.9%。标准普尔500种指数则是下跌了51.43点，收于4398.95点，跌幅为1.2%。但与此同时，纳指和标普500指数一度创下了年内新高。截至今年上半年，也就是6月30日，纳指的累计上涨达到31.7%，标普500指数呢则是上涨了15.9%。随着现在时间进入到7月中，美联储月末的议息会议中，是否真的会重启加息进程？今年上半年股市表现超出了大家的预期，那么市场中是否存在泡沫？展望下半年，有哪些板块值得投资人重点关注？还有哪些板块将会面临挑战？在7月6日，我们邀请到了美国财经类的畅销书作家以及 CFRA Research 的首席投资策略官 Stovall 来解读近期美联储货币政策的影响，以及下半年值得投资人重点关注的板块。Hello, Sam.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
With inflation levels currently above the Federal Reserve's target, what are your expectations for the Federal Reserve's future interest rate decisions?
Well, our expectation is that they will be raising rates when they meet at the end of this month. So the July FOMC meeting should see that 25 basis point increase. And I think we have to see additional data to decide whether the Fed will continue to raise rates, even though their dot plots did imply that they will raise rates at least 2 more times, meaning July and then either August or September. We still feel that because of the downward stair-step in inflation readings, whether you look to the consumer price index, the producer price index, or the personal consumption expenditures, the PCE, which is the Fed's favorite measure, they're all below the Fed funds rate. And as a result, Fed funds are putting pressure on these inflationary readings. And we think that by the end of 2024, we will see the PCE at the level that the Fed would desire.
Given the recent market performance, what are your current views on the overall state of the stock market? What sectors performed particularly well? Do you observe any specific trends or patterns emerging?
Well, I think that we have sort of 2 outlooks, one for the near term and one for the second half of the year. I think a lot of investors were surprised by the strength of the market's performance in the first half. But interestingly enough, history hinted that we would end up with a pretty good first half. That's because traditionally a positive year follows a down year. And last year, the S&P was off nearly 19.5%. Also, there's something called the January barometer. As goes January, so goes the year. When that is up following a down year, the market was higher 92% of the time in that full calendar year. And if you then add the fact that the Q1 low did not dip below the December low, then every time since World War II that we had a down year, followed by an up January barometer and a Q1 low that did not exceed the December low, we never declined, and the average price gain was around 25%. So with us being up 16% in the first half of 2023, interestingly, but history says that that serves as a running start to the second half of the year. Now, granted, we had a very strong results for the NASDAQ and for the S&P. The best sectors were communication services, consumer discretionary, and technology. So we're probably due for some sort of a breather, a digestion of these recent gains. However, history also lets us know that the top three sectors in the first half tend to outperform in the second half as well, primarily because portfolio managers who are probably behind the eight ball right now, underperforming the market, they want to not only earn their bonus, but keep their jobs. And so they're likely to be pressing the pedal to the metal or trying to catch up to and pass the overall market.
With market valuations at historically high levels, do you see any signs of a potential market bubble? What precautions should investors consider in such an environment?
Usually in the beginning of a new bull market, you do tend to find valuations get a bit stretched because of the old saying that prices lead fundamentals. So interestingly enough, looking at all bear markets since World War II, if you look at the PE at the bear market bottom, and then you look at the price to earnings ratio just as the S&P crossed that 20% gain level, indicating that we're in a new bull market, there traditionally was a 22% expansion in that multiple. This time around, we had a 24% expansion, so a little higher than the average, but still, we had 5 other baby bull markets that saw a greater increase in the PE multiple than we did this time around. So it's not like 2000 all over again.
Are there any sectors or industries that you found particularly attractive or have potential for growth in the second half of the year? Conversely, are there any sectors that you believe might face some challenges?
Well, I think that we might see a bit of, as I mentioned before, some digestion of recent gains early on in this third quarter. Also, second quarter earnings are just beginning to be reported. We're looking for the low point in this earnings recession. S&P expected to show earnings decline of around 8.5%, with 8 of the 11 sectors posting year-on-year declines. But analysts tend to look forward. They look out about 6 months or so, and a lot of them are looking to 2024 earnings, pretty much discounting what is happening in 2023. The greatest growth is expected to be found in the communication services, consumer discretionary, technology areas, and a lesser extent in the industrials category. So I would tend to say that some of the most of the growth areas and some of the cyclical areas should continue to be outperformers. I would worry a little bit about energy as well as basic materials, because if we do see a slowdown, not necessarily a recession in the economy, then these sectors are not going to be performing as well. And certainly if we do end up with an end of year rally, which is what we are predicting, then the defensive areas such as consumer staples, healthcare, and utilities are likely to be avoided by investors as well.